Hey nerds, and welcome to Flash, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd. So Flash is back from its midweek hiatus along with all the other CW shows, and it got started pretty much where it left off with the fallout of Barry's trip to the future really affecting him and by proxy affecting all the team. So we're going to get into what he saw and how that's going to change and what that's going to affect. But first, really quick, the show needs to stop doing this where Barry learns something and doesn't tell anyone and it ruins everyone's relationships. Granted, they only did it for the first half of the episode, but it's getting really old where Barry learns something and decides not to tell anyone, or he does something or something happens and he's not telling anyone. We get it, that Barry takes the weight of the world on himself, but at this point, it never lasts and it always causes problems. I would just appreciate it if they stopped doing that. I mean, they haven't even told Joe yet, which that to an extent I can understand, but even that is going to get played out. Joe's going to get mad because nobody's telling him anything. They're going to try and hide it. And the show just needs to stop doing that and just move along with what's happening, because it slows down the episode, I think. So that being said, jumping into this week's episode, first we're going to start with the villain of the week, Plunder. Jared Murillo, the character from the comics, is actually from a mirror universe, a reverse universe, if you will. He was kind of let loose or set upon the main Earth when Mirror Master and the Rogues were kind of exploring different dimensions that were only accessible through the mirror dimension. While there, they found him, they set him loose. At the same time, they trapped the Flash in the mirror dimension. And while he was there, while he was trapped there, Plunder and the rest of the Rogues basically took over Keystone City. He's a very skilled marksman, as we saw in the episode, and he took over the city until Barry obviously was able to escape and deal with all those guys. But one of the first things he wanted to do while he was freed, when he was working with a different group of rogues, was he wanted to kill his Earth One counterpart, which was a Detective Jared Murillo. So he's a very interesting character, and I'm pretty sure he was just kind of a bridge character in order to set up some of the things that we're seeing play out in the changing the future aspect of this episode. Specifically, we see the gun he uses pop up in the slightly different future that HR is holding. Now, this is just one small change. We don't know what HR is doing with it. We didn't get a good look. We don't know what the plan was or anything like that. But I'm sure more of that is going to come out, especially with things that are implied with this episode. But the big thing from that whole future sequence with him and Cisco were the headlines, and that's what we're going to talk about next. There was some stuff in there like Joe wins an award, but there were 3 big headlines that they're going to be focusing on for this season, and pretty much we know that they are episodes unto themselves. One is Music Meister gets a book deal. Music Meister is definitely coming this way. It's going to be a 2-part episode with Supergirl. It's going to be a musical episode. Despite my strong desire for Neil Patrick Harris to take over that role once again, just like we've got Mark Hamill doing the Trickster, it would have been great to have Neil Patrick Harris doing Music Meister. But Darren Criss has actually been cast. Now, he's another Glee alumni, just like Grant and Melissa. So they've got some chemistry already there, but you obviously can't deny his musical chops. So that's coming up. It's a 2-parter episode. It'll kick off in Supergirl, but the bulk of the story will be in Flash. The next headline was about Gorilla Grodd. And we know there's another Gorilla Grodd episode coming up. We don't know which Gorilla Grodd it will be, but it's very possible that it will be the Earth 1 version somehow getting back from Earth 2 for revenge. Maybe it's an invasion. It's hard to say, but I would expect that Gorilla Grodd is going to be more in control of his abilities. Maybe he'll actually be able to talk and not just a kind of a telepathic thing. But you can expect something pretty significant there, possibly an invasion of multiple gorillas. So we'll see. But that brings us to the last thing, and this is Killer Frost is still at large. And this has Caitlin very worried, and this is one of the big things they want to change. Apart from saving Iris from being killed by Savitar, they want to make sure that they can save Caitlin from becoming Killer Frost. This is why she invites Julian to be part of the team, and Cisco and Julian at the end give her that necklace to help keep her power dampening bracelets fully charged. We don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know if she's going to get her powers but kind of maintain her humanity. I think that would be a nice twist if they were able to do that and give her her powers but allow her to maintain control, because it would be pretty devastating to the team if they did lose her and she did go kind of to the dark side, as it were. So those are kind of the big headlines from the episode. Now, the last thing is that, the tag at the end, someone coming through the breach from HR's world. And this gal is Gypsy. Gypsy is being played by Jessica Camacho, and I've talked about Gypsy's character in the past, but I'm not going to really do that right now. What I'm more concerned about is she seems to be hunting HR. We don't know what HR has done that would set her on this task. Maybe she's there to retrieve him. Maybe she is out for revenge. Maybe he did something to her. These are all things we don't know. But if HR really is actually a bad guy and he's kind of hiding out on this earth, it's possible that that moment where we see him on the roof when Savitar kills Iris, it's possible he's not there with good intentions. But these are all things that we're not sure about. What do you guys think, though? I'm curious, do you think HR is really kind of this nefarious individual and he's hiding? What do you think he did on his Earth that has set Gypsy here in order to find him? So leave your comments down below. Don't forget to check out my other theories for Supergirl and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And until next week, guys, this has been Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd, and this has been Flash, Theories and Conspiracies.